Oh shit, here we go again.
Arigato. Chiyo. Y'all ain't ready though. I'm telling y'all, bro. Quick question, gents. Who y'all got in a fight, dog? 1v1. Me versus a gorilla, dog. I swear, dog. If you say a gorilla, dog, I'm coming for you, dog.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I got myself, dog. I trust myself, bro. Against the gorilla, dog. This shit has been trending, dog. This has been trending, dog, for like, yo, God. Me, bro. I'm him, dog. But anyways, dog, let's see what this nigga has to say about the situation, dog.
So recently, all of social media has been blowing up with the debate of one gorilla versus 100 humans. The funny thing is that everyone seems completely divided.
How I walk away from my after he gets mauled by the gorilla first in the and the versus one. How it feels to get my revenge on the gorilla that just mauled all 99 of my
divided onto who would win the fight. One side thinks that the gorilla would pull a Winston and just completely thrash the army of humans with ease, while the other side believes that the sheer numbers would let the humans just beat up the gorilla like it's Naruto. But who is actually correct? Is a gorilla versus 100 people actually a fair fight, or is it actually a stomp? Does the gorilla win, or do the humans? Let's find out. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like, subscribe, and let's jump right in. Now, to begin, I think it's important to establish both sides of this fight. For the gorilla, we are assuming that this is essentially the strongest gorilla possible. Of the 4 gorilla species, easily the largest and strongest would be a silverback eastern lowland gorilla.
Gents, hey gents, me I don't wanna die, gents. Honestly speaking, I'm not gonna die. I'm fighting against a gorilla.
The absolute largest, gorillas can stand at over 6 feet tall and weigh between 400 and 500 pounds.
6 feet! I'm fair, dog. You know who I'm calling, dog? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes! I'm calling Giannis, dog. Don't play with me, dog.
The largest ever being about 600 pounds or even beyond. However, this fails to capture how a gorilla's overall proportions drastically exceed that of a normal human, with a wingspan of over 8 feet, drastically more muscle mass, and far less body fat. In comparison to the peak gorilla, the group of humans will be made up of 100 average people. There will be no boxers, nor MMA fighters or athletes, and instead it will just be 100 totally normal people.
Nigga, what type of bullshit is this, dog? You bring out one of the strongest gorillas, dog. You think that me, dog, I'm gonna settle for 100 average men, dog? First of all, I'm not average, dog. You feel me? Second, Baba, put all those boxes there, dog. You bring out the strongest. Baba, don't kill us, dog.
With totally normal physical stats, with there being an equal number of men and women. Now, technically, average height and weight varies somewhat drastically across the planet, so for this video, we'll be taking the stats from just Americans when possible. This means the 50 men in the group will be on average 5'9" and almost 200 pounds, while the 50 women in the group will be on average 5'4" and 170 pounds. Now, to be fair, Americans are kinda fat, so ultimately using
Yo, that's valid, dog. That's facts, dog. Nigga, there's more fat people in America than the population of South Africa, dog. Wait, is that true though? Let's search it, dog. Over 70 million, dog. This translates, bro. Hold up. Over 100 million adults with obesity, dog, in the United States. Over 100 million adults. Population of South Africa, dog. Yo. Nigga, what? The population of SA gens.
Fear Nation doesn't change these values very much, or the outcome in my opinion. Still, either way, the gorilla is going to be far larger than any single human, exceeding them in height by a couple inches and being casually twice the weight of the average man. Also, just so we're all on the same page, this is what 100 people looks like. It's definitely not a small group, but it's also not a massive crowd by any means. A lot of college lectures have more people than this in them. With that being understood, who wins this? Determining the true strength of a gorilla is incredibly difficult for multiple reasons. Firstly, gorillas ultimately are not a predatory species, so in comparison to something like a bear, a wolf, or any of the big cats, they rarely, if ever, go out of their way to attack humans. Secondly, unlike for humans that will willingly do experiments to test the limits of human strength, doing the exact same thing is almost impossible for gorillas because they're not just going to do a bench press for a couple of bananas, unfortunately. This forces most, if any, estimations of gorilla strength to be just that, estimations based off of their bodies and the very rare instances of strength that we have seen from them. Thirdly, there is a lot of hearsay and misinformation regarding gorillas, with most online sources claiming completely different stats for what gorillas are actually capable of. Finally, a lot of info about gorillas that does exist is oftentimes really old. The biggest issue though is that you
see, dog, if I'm in the front line, dog, of 100 people, and a gorilla comes out like that, dog, and they say do or die, nigga, I'm committing suicide. Nigga, you cannot come out like this, dog. As a gorilla, dog, and you think I'm gonna stand there, dog. Musupambana. It's raps. Like, it's chai, dog. It's raps. If that happens, then I'm gone, dog. You'll never find me again, dog.
consistent information. For example, one website says they can lift 1,800 pounds, while another claims they can lift more than twice that at 4,000 pounds. Things get even more wild when these resources put it in terms of humans. Some claim that a gorilla is 8 times stronger than an average man. Another claims that they are 4 to 10 times stronger than a human. Another source claims 12 times, with another claiming that gorillas are a whopping 20 times stronger than a human. Clearly, the only consistent thing agreed on here is that gorillas are stronger than humans, but this much variation in number between sources is enough to say that these numbers are completely made up or very unsubstantiated. So let's look to what actual researchers have said about gorillas, or what we have actually seen them do in real life.
Homie was like, what you trying to do, cuh? What you trying to do, cuh?
Consistently, gorillas have been seen uprooting thin banana trees, shattering protective glass, and have broken human arms in brief attacks. Smaller and weaker primates like chimpanzees have shown feats of strength 2 to 3 times stronger than that of a normal human, around 800 to 1,200 pounds. Given that chimps are less than a quarter of the weight of a gorilla, suddenly the 4,000 pound claims look slightly more valid and would approximately make them 8 to 10 times stronger than a human being lifting wise, though strength and weight don't exactly work like that in a 1-to-1 ratio, clearly. Looking back to older information, the statements get harder to verify, but could also be potentially more legitimate, as these were real interactions in the wild. We have accounts from 19th century explorer Paul Chalu recounting gorillas snapping and bending metal guns with their bare hands, or even an older account from explorer Andrew Patel that recounts that 10 people were unable to pin a gorilla down. Finally, we have more speculative calculations around things like gorilla bite force and punching strength, which is incredibly difficult to calculate without, having the gorilla punch something that actually measures the force. Still, even the most lowball calculations put the gorilla's strength at around 881 joules of force, with the highest being 3,660 joules of force. In comparison, humans output only about 74 joules with their punches, which would make the potential difference in punch power anywhere from around 10 to 50 times. I don't think really speed is something we really need to talk about here. It isn't like other power scaling topics where either side is a blitz difference faster than the other or anything like that. Gorillas and humans are simply comparable in overall speed, with the gorilla being a bit faster in bursts of muscular power, though such speeds aren't exactly sustainable. So
I can't lie, dog. Gorillas are funny as fuck. Gorillas are funny as fuck.
overall, gorillas are stronger, larger, heavier, and more powerful than multiple humans combined. Either way though, are the humans cooked? Let's get into it. Now, in a 1v1, 2v1, or even 10v1, I think the gorilla could pretty easily take it. From everything we've seen, from historical accounts to estimations, a gorilla may legitimately be around 10 times the strength of average humans, making all of these random articles potentially correct even if they were just yapping. Single strikes and bites from a gorilla is going to be breaking bones of whoever is unlucky enough to be in range. As they tend to do, they can also easily grab, lift, and pull around any human they manage to grab. Furthermore, most attacks from a human are
Did you see the way, dog? That motherfucker just got thrown by that gorilla, dog. That gorilla can do that to you, dog. Let go of ego, bro. Bro, some things are just not meant for you in this life, bro.
simply not going to legitimately harm a gorilla, the difference in the basic lifting and punching power being so immense that the person punching the gorilla would probably hurt their hands more than the gorilla's body. But as the number of humans increases towards 100, things get worse and worse for the gorilla for multiple reasons. Firstly, fatigue. Gorillas are not used to, nor are they really built for long, drawn-out fights. Most conflicts between gorillas only last a couple minutes at most, which is actually true for most humans as well. But while the gorilla might tear through 20, 30, 40 people, boom, there are still 60 humans the gorilla has to beat in order to win. Secondly, in this fight, strategy and coordination genuinely matter. For this fight to even happen, we kind of need to ignore the concept of fear for both sides. If a gorilla saw a group of 100 humans, they are very likely not going to attack.
This nigga's scared of a bird. These niggas are not so tough, dog. I'm whooping their ass like straight up type shit.
And just run away. On the other side, if most people saw a gorilla beating up a dude, they're not going to jump in and help out. They're also running away. With that being said, if both sides legitimately want to beat the other with full conviction and no other options, 100 people can pretty quickly coordinate to absolutely bum rush on the gorilla, who simply would not be able to attack every person at once, even 20 people at once. Which brings up the third thing, weight. For as strong as a gorilla is, especially a potentially tired gorilla, is simply not strong enough to hold off the weight of a coordinated group of humans. At the mid-end estimation of 1,800 pounds, even just 20 200-pound humans would be able to pin down a gorilla, with the only claim to the contrary being from a guy born in the 1500s. Would people get hurt and probably be killed in this effort to pin him down? But again, there are 50 dudes all prepared to do this, let alone the 50 women. But pinning isn't enough. The gorilla would need to be defeated, and even without tools, humans should be able to actually hurt gorillas. While human punches are far weaker than the apes, human kicks are overall far stronger. It can range from over 3,000 to over 4,000 joules, which is actually stronger than gorilla punches from a pure energy output standpoint, as crazy as that sounds. So while yes, one guy randomly kicking a gorilla would probably do nothing, several dozen people
That clip was funny, dog. That clip was funny. Very humorous, dog. I like it. I like it. I like it.
One guy randomly kicking a gorilla would probably do nothing. Several dozen people all kicking at a gorilla's head while he's already pinned down would eventually take him out. So yes, 100 humans could beat a gorilla. If gorillas were truly a threat to literally 100 humans at a time, there would be far more stories of gorillas actually, killing humans, while we have stories like this for elephants or bears. So bottom line is this: humans most likely win, but you don't want to be at the front of the crowd when you're staring down a silverback.
Exactly what I was saying, dog. You'll never see me in the front lines, dog. You gotta aim to work in the front lines, dog. Stay strong, dog. But you gotta remember, man, the revolution will not be televised. Love.